Hello everyone, my name is Oliver Corey, and today I'm going to talk to you about the Mexican press system. I chose to do my presentation on Mexico because I was surprised how low it was on the Press Freedom Index. I hope through this presentation that I can put its low ranking into context for everyone. Mexico, as I'm sure all of you know, shares a border with the US. It's located directly south of us. It's the third largest country in Latin America. The only other two countries in Latin America that are larger are Brazil and Argentina. Mexico established their independence, well actually they declared their independence on the 16th of September 1810. They fought for 11 years with Spain, and they eventually gained their independence on the 27th of September 1821, which was when Spain finally recognized them as a country. They have a population of over 120 million people. 60% of the population is American Indian Spanish, and 30% is American Indian. 9% is made up of white people, and 1% is made up of other people. In Mexico, as I'm sure most of you know, most people speak Spanish. 92.7% of the people there speak Spanish, and 5.7% speak Spanish in indigenous languages. So, from this information, we can gather that 98.4% of people speak Spanish in Mexico. In terms of religions, 82.7% of people in Mexico are Roman Catholic. 5% are even with evangelical churches. 4.7% are none. The literacy rate is actually pretty good. It's had a steady increase since 1980. The graph that might be too small for you to see is from 1980 to 2012. They have an 89.6% literacy rate compared to the US's 97. The Press Freedom Index ranked them 148 out of 180 on the Press Freedom Index with a score of 43.69. And I think a lot of this has to do with the drug cartels and the fact that some of the media outlets there are pretty corrupt. Mexico is a federal republic, meaning it's a state in which powers of the central government are restricted and in which the component parts retain a degree of self-government. Ultimate sovereign power rests with voters who choose the government representation. In 1917, they established a constitution. They actually have several constitutions, but in 1917, they actually talked about the press, and they said freedom of writing and publishing writings on any subject is unviolable. Media statistics, the people there are 2,712 people who have internet access. There are 237 TV stations and 1,378 radio stations in Mexico. The two biggest media companies in Mexico are Televisa and Azteca. TV Azteca recently changed their name just to Azteca, and I'm going to talk about those two corporations because they have a huge portion of the media in Mexico. Televisa is the largest media company in the Spanish-speaking world, and they used to have a monopoly on the media, but over the past few years, there have been other companies that have sort of gotten into the market. One of those is Azteca. Azteca, one of the two largest producers of Spanish language television programming in the world, and they make up the portion that Televisa doesn't have. Televisa makes up 70% of the market, and they make up most of the rest. The press system in the US versus Mexico, there are a lot of differences and similarities. In terms of similarities, the US and Mexico are both corrupted by corporate people who sort of sway the media. And in terms of differences, Mexico has a lot of drug cartels which influence the media, and I'm sure we have a drug trade that influences our media, but it's not quite as serious as it is in Mexico. And the drug cartels there have been known to intimidate people and bribe them in order to get their message out and have the media represent them in a way they want to be represented. And they actually have been killing journalists in some cases. And the PRI, Institutional Revolutionary Party, they are actually a political party, as the name sort of says, and they have bribed different media companies in order to get their message out in a way that they want to and influence the political system. In terms of their role in the global community, Mexico is the biggest source for news in Spanish speaking Latin America. So everything that comes from Mexico is disseminated into the rest of Latin America. So they have a huge influence. And the media forecast, I feel like there's going to be a backlash and a resistance because I don't think there's any way that a country would just go along with corruption and drug cartels. I think that there's going to be a resistance, and I'm not sure if it will be successful or not. But that's what I think. And thank you for your time.